This is poetry. I'm reading a few about death and a few about life. I've had some. So, feeding the sea. We scatter bone dust and what was flesh and skin, never again to press against my hungry surface. You fall into the Pacific as you wished, down the rocky ledge, so that some of you clings to the side of the cliff. The glistening sea below, pelicans, cormorants, wild-winged swallows, graze the crust of the ocean. A fresh, infinitely steady rhythm section pounds before you, maestro. You dive, obeying the gravity of the moment, understated as ever. Those hands, sure as always, lost to me now, starving, but somehow satisfied. Now you are grit in my teeth and a small mound of sand at the edge of the bluff. The rest of you, blown to the offshore winds. An osprey circles, stands still in the air above where you once stood. You mimic the surf, rehearsing a new tune. I have discovered why old people do not sleep. Our dead friends are trying to rekindle something bright in our cold extremities. They worm their way into these still somewhat vital organs and play us. A restless dirge, you might imagine. But no, it's more a two-step. Insomnia, meet my friend, anhedonia. Tearless all these weeks. Then suddenly, deep in the night after midnight and well before dawn, I wake weeping. In this liminal time between sleep and arousal, tears flood my dream of you at last, and I sit up in bed, soaked in your memory. Your talented hands, I used to joke, were wasted on the keyboard. Some strange arpeggio emanates from the honey-colored instrument squatting sullen in the other room, untouched. Your honey-colored dog worries when I turn on the light. She hums along for a moment, then takes a few turns and settles, resumes her snoring. I am grateful. This is how I relearn the scales. Phrygian, melatonin, melodious, none of these. In any case, the horizon we never closed our eyes to sleeps, dies, wakes, continues, yes. The early darkness. The early darkness sends me to ground in the late fall. I settle and nest, wrap myself in blankets, sit before an imaginary hearth, breathe fire to soothe my cold bones. The ones who are absent join me. They burrow in, take my hand, drink from whatever is lucid in my face. There is enough to go around. Whenever that small mammal trapped in my chest turns to warm itself, the moon rises whole on a horizon I have not met. The bald flash of orange sets at the bottom of the bay, flashes in my window, makes space for whatever is to come. I pretend to be ready for it. Something indiscernible takes flight. And now, some life. I have just one piece, I think, that we all worked hard on. This is one prose and one poem. Oh, I do have two more. How's the time? I'm good? Okay. So this is two adjacent versions of the Jewish mystical creation story, or a Jewish mystical creation story. the two pieces are called creation. It, him, there, we, our, us. One, creation. And it's with thanks to Rabbi Bert Jacobson for his insights into Lurianic Kabbalah. I've paraphrased and probably taken some liberties with what he taught us in an adult education class. One, creation. To begin with, it was always dark everywhere. It took up all the space. Eventually, the mysterious Almighty let there be light, and he let the light represent him. After an eternity or so, the divine began to weary of being so vast and unitary. It longed for something else, some other space taker that could, incidentally, recognize and believe in him. In order to make an opening for something beside itself, the great being was forced to consider sacrificing some of its infinite transcendence to create a finite world beneath its own. This painful bifurcation allowed for good and evil, male and female, consolidated the previously unconceived dispute between dark and light, between material and spirit. It prepared the ground for sacred and profane. In the process of lining things up to embark on this doubtful new project, God crammed all the radiance of the cosmos into a series of vessels he designed for that purpose. But then something unexpected happened. Some of the receptacles proved not strong enough to hold, and they burst apart, allowing a quantity of light to escape containment. The energy released into the newly contracted firmament threatened chaos, deep disorder. Scrambling to mitigate the calamity, this loss of control tied so intimately to his extravagant craving for an other that would know and love him, God moved to fashion the, in the long run, problematic, sub-divine beings we know as us. He assigned to us the crucial chore of gathering up those shards of light in an unending attempt to put it all back together, to reunify his shattered domain. The human vocation is to repair the universe, including the divine, who was also injured in the mishap. 2, recreation. The story, as I understand it, as my sister told it to me, goes, the delicate vessel carrying all the light in the universe fell from the clumsy God's hands as he was trying to move it outside, broke to smithereens while he was wondering what to do with himself, stranded there, deserted in the cosmos he had created out of nothing. Oh yes, it was he, for sure, because a woman would have gathered ingredients to ground herself before diving into a recipe so large, designed to feed so many. This blundering, dare I say, ham-fisted deity wondered suddenly what would become of him if no one came to see him. It was probably in that moment of reckless doubt he dropped the ball, knew in his pitiful all-knowingness that he had made a big mistake, holding space for himself only. There are no accidents, another old Jew theorized. The frail vase comes crashing down, and a mysterious glow has spattered all over the floor. The old man calls on us to clean up after him. That's my religion. O wounded, absent-minded divine, let us touch your face before daybreak, make you whole. You never invited anyone to share your light, and now it's spilled, remains scattered, possibly irretrievable. Use a torch in this awe-filled darkness. Look under the bed in every corner. Ask the neighbors what they've seen. Thank you. I think that's it. Thank you so much.